With a brand new roller coaster being built in the Jurassic Park land and Islands of Adventure, I thought it might be fun to look back at all the planned and developed ride concepts that never came to be. Some were originally designed to be built in the expansion pads that were eventually taken over by Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey and Skull Island Reign of Kong, while another was a completely different version of an attraction we eventually got. Here are 5 never-built Jurassic Park attractions at Universal Orlando. Our first unbuilt attraction did eventually get built, but the original version was going to be quite different. Jurassic Park The Ride was originally being designed to be built at Universal Studios Florida, where Men in Black Alien Attack is now at the back of the park. Development for this ride started very early, before the movie was even in production. Working from the script and the original novel by Michael Crichton, the ride was inspired by a segment from the book featuring an unfinished boat ride. This would have fit perfectly at the park as Universal Studios Florida didn't have a boat ride. One of the concepts for the attraction that was later abandoned was for a roof to be placed over any of the outdoor scenes that would feature dinosaurs. This would not only allow the designers to better control the lighting, but would also help to protect the animatronics and their skins from the harsh Florida elements. One of the outdoor sections that was tailor-made for a glass roof enclosure was the Pterodactyl Dome. This aviary scene in the original plans would have featured an escaped pterodactyl over the boat, but the entire sequence was ultimately cut due to budget reasons. One of the biggest changes from the original ride concept would have involved a fake-out featuring a real team member. Just as it is now, our boat would be taken into a maintenance area, but then a voice over the PA system would tell us that we will be evacuated at the top of the lift hill. A nervous-looking Jurassic Park employee would emerge carrying a flashlight and guide your boat into a docking area. This role would be played by a real person and not an animatronic. Suddenly, a raptor comes bursting through a chain link fence, causing the attendant to fall back. You would hear the sounds of more raptors behind you as you start to drift backwards into the dark. Eventually, this section was changed to the raptors charging the chain link fences we see on the ride today. After a shakeup for the plans for Universal Orlando's new theme park, it was decided that the Jurassic Park ride would be better suited over there. Moving the ride to the new park, now called Islands of Adventure, would mean that the Jurassic Park ride would be opening later than originally expected in Orlando, but it also meant that they would have more room to add additional experiences. Before they even started designing the River Adventure ride, Universal considered a concept for a Jeep ride inspired by the T-Rex paddock attack in the original Jurassic Park film. Since many of the same ideas were later utilized in the main River Adventure ride, the Jeep tour was canceled, or at least shelved for a bit. When it was decided that Jurassic Park would be getting an entire land at Universal Orlando's new theme park in the late 1990s, they were looking for more attraction concepts to go along with the River Adventure. Designed to feature ride vehicles inspired by the Electric Explorer tour vehicles in the film, this ride would carry passengers through an outdoor section and into an indoor section as well. After loading into the Jeep, riders would be taken through the iconic Jurassic Park gate, and then drive right below a massive brachiosaur. Other dinosaurs would be seen emerging from a lagoon. Not before long, we would run into a dinosaur blocking our path, back our way up unknowingly into a raptor den in an indoor section of the ride. Here, raptors would start climbing onto our vehicle before we make our escape, only to come face to face with the T-Rex, who would then step on the roof of our Jeep, just like it does in the movie. Had this attraction been built, it would have been located behind the Thunder Falls Terrace restaurant, where Skull Island Reign of Kong was eventually built. Rumor has it the Jeep Safari ride never saw the light of day because in the end, it was just too similar to the River Adventure ride, covering many of the same story beats. Another ride was also in development around the same time though, and this one would have been completely different. The Helicopters attraction made it far enough through development that it could still be seen in the model and the concept art for Islands of Adventure the year it opened. With a tower and a helicopter on its roof, this attraction was going to be a simulator ride that would take guests on a flight over Jurassic Park. Not much is known about the story for this attraction, but it is often said that it would feature an aerial flight over the dinosaur paddocks of Jurassic Park. The ride would also feature a moment where a group of pteranodons would attack the helicopter. The concept for the ride system is said to have been strikingly similar to the ride system in use at Soarin' at Disney parks. Instead of a closed cabin ride system like Star Tours, or even multiple motion-based mounted ride vehicles that share a screen like Back to the Future, Helicopters was going to use a suspended theater ride system, and had it not been cancelled, it would have opened a couple years before Soarin'. The location for this attraction would have been to the right of the river adventure. The expansion plot remained empty for years until it was eventually taken over by the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Despite Forbidden Journey being built in its spot now, you can still find the helicopters on the model of the Jurassic Park island located in front of the entrance to the river adventure. The Jeep Safari ride can also be found on the model, even though it also was never built. Designed in early 2001, this concept was not part of the original plans for Islands of Adventure, but Universal was supposedly looking to add a bit of thrill to the land after the park had been open for a couple years. Designed by the coaster works, Raptor Racers was going to be a wooden roller coaster. Partly inspired by the famous Cyclone Racer in Long Beach, the track for this coaster was reportedly going to be shaped like a dinosaur skeleton. The coaster trains would be painted to match the look of the Explorers and the Jeeps from the original film. During the ride, we would encounter a group of raptors and be chased by them into a dark ride portion that would have involved some sort of track movement or vibration to simulate the danger. One of the most interesting aspects for this attraction concept involved a neat effect when getting off the ride. When pulling back into the station, special UV lighting would reveal raptor claw marks and damage to our coaster trains. The concept for this attraction was never approved by Universal, but was shopped around to other theme parks. Universal was still looking to add something thrilling to this section of the park though, and later that year, they finally settled on a concept that would fit the bill. Deciding to go even bigger, Universal was considering adding a Hypercoaster to the land. It would have gone where Skull Island Reign of Kong is now, extending out over the pathway and even taking over some of the team member area behind Camp Jurassic. Being a hypercoaster, this attraction would have reached over 200 feet tall at its tallest point, nearly twice as tall as the Incredible Hulk coaster. Unlike Raptor Racers, this roller coaster was supposedly approved and was being designed by mid-2001. Surrounded by electric fences, the area would have been themed like an amber mining facility. A mix of mountains reminiscent of Big Thunder Mountain mixed with theming elements you could already find within Camp Jurassic, this massive roller coaster would climb a chain lift hill and dive down the mountain, swooping around waterfalls. We would presumably be traveling along track meant for mining purposes, in and around the ember mines. Not much else is known about this concept other than the fact that it was cancelled before work even started, likely due to the drop in tourism after the events of 9/11. Nearly 2 decades later, and it looks like Universal is finally getting their new thrill coaster for Jurassic Park. Utilizing newer technology, like launches instead of a chain lift, the new coaster is taking over the old Triceratops encounter area, as well as a section of the park's lagoon. Just like several of the never-built concepts of the past, this new attraction is rumored to feature a group of velociraptors, proving the old adage true that no idea is really dead when it comes to the theme parks. Be sure to check out our coverage of the new roller coaster on the channel, and let me know if there are other unbuilt attractions you'd like me to talk about. And consider joining our Patreon for exclusive content and early releases. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there.